Hi students, welcome to PyPoint. This is Nisar Ahmed, your mathematics mentor. Today is our fifth lecture on complex numbers. So in this very lecture we are going to discuss modulus of a complex number. So अगर हम बात करते हैं real numbers में, we say that 100 is greater than 50. So we can determine or we can calculate how much the number is bigger than other. Okay. So if we talk about a complex number, how big a complex number is, how we are going to determine that? We are going to determine that by using a method that's called a modulus of a complex number. So modulus of a complex number is basically a technique of determining how big the complex numbers are. Okay, so geometrically it represents a distance between a complex point in an eigenplan, or you can say a complex number from the origin. With respect to the origin, if you are taking the distance from the origin to the complex number in an eigenplan, that will give you the value of the modulus of a complex number, or magnitude of a complex number. Later in the next lecture, we are going to discuss the geometrical approach of a modulus of a complex number, geometrical approach of a conjugate of a complex number. Okay. Today we will discuss simple introduction to modulus of a complex number. What modulus of a complex number mean? Okay, if we have any complex number z, okay, which is in the form of alpha plus iota beta, or alpha plus ib. This is a complex I beta. Okay, so this is a complex number here over here. So its mod is denoted by like this. This is called a mod of z. Okay, so if we have z is a complex number where alpha is the real part of z and beta is the imaginary part of z, then its modulus is denoted by mod of z. Okay, that is read as mod of z. It is denoted by like this symbol. Okay, and it is given by mod of z is given by square root of alpha square plus beta square. It's alpha square plus beta square. Then square root of alpha square plus beta square. Or you can have this is what alpha, if you just remember the alpha is here, the real part of z, so we can say it's a real part of z square, okay, plus if you just remind that beta is basically an imaginary part of z, you can have imaginary part of z square. Okay, so now what is modulus of a complex number? Modulus of a complex number is basically square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. This value, this monster is going to provide us the value for the modulus of a complex number. How big the complex numbers are, basically we are going to determine that by using a modulus of a complex number. Okay, so if z is an alpha plus iota beta, its mod is denoted by this and is given as alpha square plus beta square root of real part square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. I think this is one of the most easiest way to approach with the towards the modulus of a complex numbers. Okay, and we know that by definition, if you just go for the definition of a mod, you might have heard or you might have studied in the relations and functions that if you just talk about the mod of z, if you just talk about mod of x, you can say. So mod of z or mod of x you can write. Mod of x is by definition of a modulus function, that is called x when x is greater or equal to 0. Okay, and that's called minus x when x is less than 0. Okay, this is the definition of a mod function. Okay, this is the definition of a mod function. So similarly here mod. So mod is universal. You can say mod of z is greater or equal to 0 for all z belonging to C. What is C? C means set of complex numbers. So if z is belonging to C, then mod of z is always greater or equal to 0. Either it will be 0 or it will be greater than 0. It may be positive value. Okay. So let's calculate the modulus of some complex numbers. Let's cite a few examples over there and let's determine their magnitudes. Okay. So let me remind you one concept over here, that is, you know that x square is greater or equal to 0 for all x belonging to reals. If I am not mentioning here that x is not a real number, then it is not possible for all values, because you just take the value of a root of minus 1. Okay, that's iota square. So that is root of minus 1 is what? Minus 1, which is less than 0, which is not greater or equal to 0. So this law fails over here. So you can have x square is greater or equal to 0 for all x belonging to reals. You can write here over here. Okay. So because root of minus 1 is not a real, it's a complex number. Okay. So now moving ahead, let us z1 be what? 3 minus iota times 2. Okay. And let z2 is minus 2 plus iota. Okay. And let z3 okay be iota only. Okay. So if you just take the mod of this one, okay, then mod of z1, what will be that? That is obviously equal to square root of real part square. What is the real part over here? Okay, plus imaginary part. What is the imaginary part? We know that the general standard form of a complex number is alpha plus iota times beta. So that is the plus sign over there. That's a minus over there. So we can take that imaginary sign for. So that is it is a sign for the imaginary part of the z1. Okay. So you can write square root of 3 square plus or minus 2 square. You can write mod of z will be equal to, that's a 9, and this is obviously equal to 4, and you can have root of 13. Square root of 13 will be the mod of this complex number. And mod of this complex number will be obviously like minus 2 square, okay, plus of 1 square, because the iota is only there, iota at some multiplication will be over there 1, okay. So you will have mod of z will be equal to what? That is equal to 4 plus 1, which is equal to root of 5. The square root of 5, okay. So now talk about the mod of this complex number. What you will get? You will get 0 square. Obviously, real part is 0 there, and imaginary part is 1 there. So this is an example of a purely imaginary complex number. So you can have 1 square. So you will write z1 is equal to what? Z3, mod of z3 is equal to what? That's equal to 1 square. That's obviously equal to 1. Okay. Now we just compare. Z1 is square root of 30. Z2 is square root of 5. And Z3 is 1 only. So from this calculation, you can have mod of Z1 is greater than what? Mod of Z2. And mod of Z2 is greater than what? Mod of Z3. Okay? So which one is the bigger complex number? So obviously Z1 is equal to 3 minus iota times 2 is a big complex number than this Z2 and then Z3. Okay? So that means, so Z1 is bigger complex number than Z2 and Z2 is bigger complex number than Z3. So you can have, by magnitude, you can have that. So you can have the comparison between the complex numbers, how much or how bigger they are with respect to one another. Okay. So you are just taking it in a little bit manner, or you are just taking in directly sense. Okay, you are not considering in it geometrically. Okay, when we are going to deal it with geometrically, you will come to know what kind of a concept it actually is. Okay, so this is the basic definition of, you can from this method you can find out the magnitude of any complex number. Okay, so whether that's a purely real, whether that's a purely imaginary, or whether that's a combo. Okay, so you can take that. So this is a models of a complex number. Now, if you just go for the properties of models of a complex number, properties of models of complex number. Okay. So let me tell you, if property first. If mod of z is equal to 0, if mod of z comes out to be 0, what is the condition there? So you know that what's mod, basically it's a real part square, it's a square root of a real part square. Okay. So say if z is equal to alpha plus iota times beta, okay, so that means real part square, that's alpha square, okay, plus beta square, okay, will be equal to 0. Now taking square root both sides, what we will get? Taking square root both sides, what we will get? You will get that's alpha square plus beta square is equal to 0. Okay. Now sum of the squares of the two terms, sum of squares of the two terms is equal to 0. How it is possible? It is possible only and only if alpha square is individually 0 and beta square is individually 0. Then their sum will be equal to 0. Otherwise it is not possible. Why? Because if alpha and beta belongs to real numbers, obviously, because alpha and beta belongs to real numbers, if z is equal to alpha plus iota times beta, alpha and beta belongs to real numbers. Okay, so that means alpha square is equal to 0, beta square is equal to 0. This is only the summation. This kind of an condition is only possible when both alpha square is equal to 0 and beta square is equal to 0. So it implies that alpha is equal to 0, okay, and beta is equal to 0. क्योंकि हमें दो चीजों का सम जो आता है, दो एलिमेंट्स का सम आता है 0, वो कभी तभी पॉसिबल है. आप बोलोगे एक माइनस होगा एक प्लस होगा, ओके, दैट इज एक्सेप्टेबल वन, बट हियर इट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. व्हाई? because there is a square, and square root of negative becomes positive. So you can have, it is basically the sum of the two positive elements is equal to 0. Is it possible? No, we can't say that. It's not possible. So we can say that when they are individually 0, then this condition holds good. So we can say that alpha square is equal to 0 and beta square is equal to 0. That which gives us alpha is equal to 0, beta is equal to 0. What does that mean? That means if mod of a complex number is equal to 0, that means its real part is 0, its imaginary part will be 0. Then it is possible that its mod will be equal to 0. So that means if mod of z is equal to 0, that means what? Mod of z is equal to 0, okay, means that its real part and its imaginary part coincides and are equal to 0. So that this is the first property, okay. Now moving towards the second property, what we have? Our second property is like this. Let's take an example property second. Let's take an example of 3. This is a z, okay. This is alpha plus iota beta, okay. Now let me take a value of an z bar, or you can say conjugate of z. What will be that? We have to change the sign of imaginary part only, that is alpha minus iota beta, okay. So now we just take an example of minus z, okay. What is with minus z? Then we have to multiply this with minus. We will get minus alpha minus iota times beta. Now let me calculate the modulus of all the 3 components, okay. So mod of z will be equal to what? That will be obviously alpha square plus beta square, okay. Now what is the mod of z bar? Mod of conjugate of z, okay. What is that? That is equal to alpha square plus or minus beta square, which comes out to be alpha square plus beta square, okay. So you just determine the value of minus z now. So that means, what is that? That will be equal to square root of minus alpha square plus of minus beta square, which comes out to be alpha square plus beta square, okay. Alpha square plus beta square. What you can conclude from first, second and third, you conclude that mod of z is equal to mod of z conjugate is equal to negative of z, okay. So that means if you just take a modulus of an complex number and its negative one, or you can say the additive inverse. If you just take the modulus of a complex number and it's the modulus of an additive inverse of that complex number, and you just take the modulus of a conjugate of that same complex number, you will get the same result, okay. So that means the 3 values will coincide, okay. That is mod of z is equal to mod of z conjugate is equal to negative times z. So this is the property second. Our first property was mod of z is equal to 0, implies that real part and imaginary part will coincide and both will be equal to 0. And similarly, second property is what? Mod of z is always equal to the mod of z conjugate is always equal to the negative of a complex number. Now moving with the property third, I will just calculate the property third over there, okay. Property third is like this. Property third. I will discuss property third. If we have complex number, let me tell you that z is an alpha plus iota times beta. This is a complex number, okay. So what is the real part of z here? Real part of z is what? Alpha, and imaginary part of z is here what? That is a beta. So imaginary part of z is here what? Beta. Alpha is there and it's a beta there, okay. If I have to find its mod, so what is the mod? Mod is square root of alpha square plus beta square, which comes out to be, it's a real part square, okay, plus imaginary part square. Now from this property, what you can have? You can have the real part of z. Real part of z. It is going to swing between what? It's going to swing between like this. It will be always less or equal to what? Mod of z. Real part of z, if you just take a value of a real part of z, it will be less or equal to mod of z. Why? Because if you just take the value of a mod of z is the combination of real part square plus imaginary part square. Obviously, this square, the sum of the two terms, is obviously greater than this alpha. Okay, we can say that real part is always greater or equal, less or equal to mod of z, but it will be always greater or equal to what? Minus mod of z. Because let me cite you an example, and you will come to know what it is actually mean. It actually means like this. So this is a property over there. Okay, you just remember this, and this is similar. This holds also good for what? Minus mod of z. Okay, is less or equal to imaginary part of z. Okay, is less or equal to what? Mod of z. Okay, so this is the second. Okay, so this is the second. These are the two methods which hold is good. Okay. or these are the two you can say formulae, or you can say these are the two properties which hold is good. Okay, so let me cite you an example. Okay, so z is 3 plus iota times 2. Okay, now you just take its mod. The mod of z will be equal to square root of 3 square plus 2 square. Okay, so you will get what? You will get 9 plus 4, and you will get square root of 13 over there. Okay, now you just take the value. Obviously this 3 is less than the square root of 13, and if you just take a negative, now you just take a negative value of mod of z, negative value of mod of z will be square root of negative. Obviously 3 is greater than, so that means you can have minus square root of 13. It is less than what? 3, and it is less than what? Square root of 13. Okay, so you can have what there. So this is now property third. We have discussed the first property, we have discussed the second property, and this is the third property which we have discussed. So that means the value of a real part or the value of imaginary part is always going to swing between mod of z and its negative. Mod of z and a negative mod of z. Okay, that's going to swing between its value. And real part will be less or equal to the mod and will be greater or equal to the negative times mod. Okay, so similarly imaginary value will be equal to what? That will be imaginary part will be equal to that will be less or equal to the mod of z and will be greater or equal to the negative of mod of z. Okay, now property fourth which we are going to discuss, very much important property is that. Okay, so that is what? That is if we have z is any complex number alpha plus iota beta. Okay, so if you just take z conjugate, obviously that is what? Alpha minus iota beta. Now if you just take z times z conjugate, from the properties of conjugate we have determined that it's basically equal to real part of z square plus imaginary part of z square. Okay, real part of z square plus imaginary part of z square. So I can also write it like this. So I can write also like this: square root of real part of z square, okay, plus imaginary part of z square. Okay, I can write this like this. Okay, okay, this square and square will be cancelled out and we will get the same value. Okay, so now what is this now? So z bar, and you know that this square root of real part square plus imaginary part square is mod of z. So what you can have here, this is mod of z square. So this is your another important property. Fourth property is what? That is z dot z conjugate is equal to mod of z square. If you just take a multiplication of a complex number with its conjugate, you will get the square of a modulus of that complex number. Okay, square root of the modulus of that complex number. So then z dot z bar is equal to mod of z square. Okay, this is the third property. Okay, I think this is the fourth one property. Okay, three properties we have discussed. This is the fourth one. Okay, so we have discussed the first property, we have discussed the second property, we have discussed the third property, and this is the fourth property you have. Okay, okay. Now moving ahead, we discuss the fifth property. Our fifth property is what? Our fifth property is like this: if we have z1 is a complex number and z2 is any complex number, if you just take the mod of z1 z2, okay, that is basically equal to z1 dot z2, mod of z1 dot mod of z2. That means modulus of product of two complex numbers is equal to the product of the modulus of their individuals. Okay, so अगर आप दो कॉम्प्लेक्स लेते हो, उनका मल्टीप्लिकेशन निकालते हो, उसका मॉडुलस निकालते हो आप, सो दैट विल बी इक्वल टू व्हाट? अगर आप z1 का कॉम्प्लेक्स z1 का मॉड निकालते हो, z2 का मॉड निकालते हो, फिर इनको मल्टीप्लाई करते हो, दैट मींस these two things are giving you the same value as far as equality is concerned. That means आप पहले z1 z2 कैलकुलेट कर लो, वो मल्टीप्लिकेशन, क्योंकि अगर z1 हमारे पास एक कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर है, z2 हमारे पास दूसरा कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर है, तो z1 z2 एक नया कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर आएगा, उसका आप मॉड लोगे तो उसका वैल्यू अगर आप से फर्स्ट रखते हो, फिर आप क्या करते हो, z1 का मॉड डायरेक्टली लेते हो, z2 का मॉड डायरेक्टली लेते हो, उनको फिर प्रोडक्ट करते हो, you will get the same result. You will get the same result from this. Okay, this is the property fifth. And this thing I am going to put on you people. You are going to just prove that by taking the value of z1 as alpha 1 plus iota times beta 1, and z2 is called alpha 2 plus iota times beta 2, and you will get that result. Okay. If you have any kind of a problem regarding this, you can ask me and you can write that on our comment section over there. Okay, we will just, and you also for the further feedbacks, if you want to give any kind of, if you want to provide any kind of feedbacks to our team PyPoint, okay, you just put on that the comment section over there, and we will just tackle accordingly that. Okay, so sixth property is what? It is Z1 upon Z2. Okay, their mod, it is equal to the mod of their individuals. Okay, so similarly, if you have Z1 is a complex number, Z2 is a complex number, their division is also a complex number, then Z1 by Z2 is a complex number. If you just take the mod of that complex number, you will get what? अगर आप Z1 का मॉडुलस निकालते हो, Z2 का मॉडुलस निकालते हो, उसका डिवीजन लेते हो, so you will get the same result. This is the property fifth, and this is the property second for the modulus. Provided that Z2 is not equal to 0. Okay, mod of Z2 is not equal to 0. So obviously that is not equal to 0, 1. Well, obviously now we will discuss. Now we will discuss seventh property. Okay, what is the seventh property? The seventh property is like this: mod of Z1 plus mod of Z2 square is equal to what? It's mod of Z1 square plus mod of Z2 square plus twice of real part Z1 Z2 bar. Okay, this is our seventh property. Now we are going to prove it here over here. Okay, so let's take an LHS over here. So that is mod of Z1 plus Z2 whole square. So this is the square of mod of Z1 plus Z2. You can write it Z1 plus Z2 dot Z1 plus Z2 conjugate. Why? Because we have a property. The property is like this: Z1 dot Z conjugate is equal to what? Z dot Z conjugate is basically equal to what? Mod of Z square. We have proved that thing. So mod of Z dot Z conjugate is basically mod of Z square. So if you are just multiplying a complex number with its conjugate, you will get the square of its modulus. That means this is Z1 is a complex number, Z2 is a complex number. If you just add the two complex numbers, you will get another complex number. So this is the one complex number. The square of that complex number, you can write that complex number into its conjugate. Okay, that's the simple manner over there. So then what you have, you can write it like this: Z1 plus Z2 is basically equal to Z1 plus Z2 whole conjugate. This is another property of conjugates. From the property of conjugates, you can write it Z1 bar plus Z2 bar. Okay, so if you just go for the multiplying, because you can write here Z1 plus Z2 whole conjugate is equal to Z1 conjugate plus Z2 conjugate. Okay, so if you just multiply it with, you can write Z1 dot Z1 conjugate plus Z1 dot Z2 conjugate. Okay, plus Z2 dot Z1 conjugate plus Z2 dot Z2 conjugate. Okay, so you can write it like this: Z1 dot Z2 conjugate. Same property you are using. Complex number with this multiplying by and conjugate, you will get the square of its modulus. So that means Z1 dot Z conjugate, Z1 dot conjugate. So Z1 and its conjugate, you will get what? Mod of Z1 square. Okay, and similarly Z2 dot Z2 conjugate, you will get its square of magnitude. Okay, that is square of the modulus. Okay, then we left with the terms Z1 Z2 bar plus Z2 dot Z1 bar. Okay, so moving ahead, Z1 square of the Z1 conjugate modulus. Okay, then Z2 square of the modulus and Z2 plus Z1 dot Z2 conjugate plus. Since Z2 doesn't hold any kind of a conjugate over here, you can write Z2 as Z2 conjugate whole conjugate dot Z1 conjugate. Why? Because you know that the double conjugate of a complex number is the complex number itself. Okay, it retains its property when we are taking double conjugate on that. Okay, so that means you will get Z1 modulus of Z1 square plus modulus of Z2 square plus Z1 dot Z2 conjugate plus. Since from the product of the conjugates, you know that Z1 dot Z2 whole conjugate is equal to Z1 conjugate dot Z2 conjugate. So that means this is the product of the two conjugates over here. So you can write what? You can write it like this: Z2 conjugate dot Z1 whole conjugate. Why? Because on using this property, you will get z2 conjugate whole conjugate dot z1 conjugate. I think this concept is clear to you. Remember this and try to learn this in a great ease. So that means it was a double conjugate over here, and you just treat z2 conjugate treat as in one complex number, and this is another complex number. When you take the product of the conjugates of two complex numbers, that is equal to the whole conjugate of their products. That means z2 conjugate dot z1 whole conjugate. If you just apply this kind of a property over here, you will get z2 conjugate whole conjugate dot z1 conjugate. Okay. So now moving ahead, what you will get? You will get over here. So z1 mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square. Okay. This thing you can write like this, plus z1 dot z2 conjugate plus, okay, this thing you can write z1 dot z2 conjugate whole conjugate. Why? By commutative law, because the multiplication of the two complex numbers is a commutative in nature. That means what? That means z1 dot z2 is equal to z2 dot z1. You can write this is the commutative law in multiplication of a complex numbers. Okay, so that means what is this now? Mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square. Okay, what you have, that means what? This is what? This is a z1 dot z2 conjugate. z1 dot z2 conjugate. I think this is the same complex number over here. But what is that? This is the complex number plus its conjugate. And you know that from the property of the conjugates, you know that z1, z plus z conjugate. If you just take the addition of complex number with its conjugate, what you will get? You will get twice of real part of z. Twice of real part of z. So that means it will be equal to, this is since, so this is a complex number, this is the same complex number, but is the conjugate of that complex number. That means complex number plus its conjugate. Complex number plus its conjugate is basically equal to twice real part of z. That is twice real part of that complex number. What is the complex number? Basically here the complex number is z1 dot z2 bar. I think we have proved this property. What is that? z1 mod of z1 square mod of z2 square plus twice real part of z1 z2. I think that is the condition over there. So you can write now from this. Now you can write z1 plus z2 mod square is equal to mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square plus twice of real part of z1 z2 conjugate. So this is your property. This is your sound property. Okay. Now moving forward, we'll just go for the eighth one property. So eighth property is what? Our eighth property is z1 minus z2 mod of z1 minus z2 square is equal to, like our eighth property is like this, mod of z1 minus z2 square, that is basically equal to mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square minus twice of real part of z1 z2 conjugate. And same method you are going to use in order to prove it, this statement. Okay, you can prove this kind of an expression by using the same formula or by using the same methods, by the same procedure which I have done for the previous one. Okay, so you can use the same method over there. Okay, if you find or if you just encounters any kind of a problem in deducing this kind of a formula or this kind of an expression, you will write that in a comment section and we will deal that accordingly. Okay, so moving ahead, this is the eighth one property. Our ninth property is what? That is, if you are going to take the summation of these two things, what? z1 mod of z2 square plus mod of z1 minus z2 square. Oh, what will be that? That will be obviously summation of the, when we are taking the summation of left hand sides, there will be corresponding to the summation of right hand sides. So this is equal to basically mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square plus twice of real part of z1 z2 conjugate. Okay, so this is this one now. Okay, plus of mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square minus twice of real part of z1 dot z2 conjugate. Okay, this is for this expression. This expression is for first one and this expression is correspondingly for second one. What you will get here, I think this is plus here, there, this is minus over there. So what you will get? You will get z1 mod of z1 square mod of z1 square, that is twice mod of z1 square. Okay, and you will get z2 square plus z2 square, that is twice mod of z2 square. Okay, so in nutshell, what you will get? You will get mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square. So this is the another property. So that means mod of z1 plus mod of z2 square plus mod of z1 minus mod of z2 square is basically equal to what? It is equal to twice of mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square. These are the nine properties which we have discussed, or which are very much important as far as our exam point of examination, or you can say entrance examination of JEE Mains, JEE Advanced are concerned. Okay, so these kind of myriads of problems or myriads of questions are asked regarding these kind of properties. Modulus of, we have discussed the properties of a conjugate in previous lecture, and today we have discussed the properties of a modulus of a complex number. Okay, if I will sum up with these properties we have studied till now, we'll just take a quick recapitulation of them. So first property we have discussed that if mod of z is equal to 0, then we have its real part is equal to its imaginary part is equal to 0. Okay, this is the property first we have discussed it. In second property we have discussed what? If we are taking the mod of z and we are taking the mod of z conjugate, we are taking the negative mod of z, so we will get the same result. Okay, and the property third what we have discussed, that is what? That is basically equal to minus mod of z is less or equal to real part of z is less or equal to mod of z. Okay, and similarly another one, that's minus mod of z is less or equal to imaginary part of z. Okay, is less or equal to you can say the mod of z. Okay, so that means the real part and the imaginary part both are used to sitting between what? Minus mod of z and plus mod of z. Okay, so property fourth we have discussed, what is that? That is z dot z conjugate is basically equal to mod of z square. Okay, then fifth property which we have discussed, that is z1 dot z2 z1 dot z2 mod is equal to what? Z1 mod dot z2 mod. Okay, so then sixth property which we have discussed is that is z1 upon z2 modulus. Okay, mod, that is equal to what? Z1 mod upon z2 mod, provided that mod of z2 is not equal to 0. Okay, this condition doesn't hold. Okay, so that is moving ahead. The seventh property which we have discussed, that is what? That is mod of z1 plus mod of z2 square is equal to z1 square plus mod of z2 square plus twice of real part z1 z2 conjugate. Okay, and eighth property which you had discussed is that z1 mod of z1 minus z2 square is equal to mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square, okay, minus twice of real part of z1 z2 conjugate. Okay, and the ninth property which you have discussed, that is what? Ninth one was what? Like this, z1 plus z2 square plus of z1 minus z2 square is basically equal to what? It is equal to mod of z1 twice of mod of z1 square plus mod of z2 square. Okay, so these are the 9 properties of a modulus of a complex number, and these are very much important. Okay, so in next lecture we are going to deal with the reciprocal of a complex number, and we will dealing with the square root of a complex number, logarithm of a complex number, Eulian representation of a complex number, and we will discussing the Argand plan. We will discussing the representation of a complex number in an Argand plan. Okay, till then, stay home, stay safe, be happy. Okay, have a joyful time ahead.